But the first time I watched the AI book a call with someone, that was it. It was
Yeah.
over. I was just like, okay,
Yeah. See, there you go.
Shaun, thanks for coming on the channel. This is amazing. Been looking forward to the chat, talking to you a lot in the forums, and it is awesome how you are in there. Other CEOs kind of hide behind the curtain, and Shaun, you are in the trenches with the team, and is amazing. So, I
Well,
will
hey,
just,
it's great
yeah,
to be here. Thanks for having me on.
absolutely. So, yeah, man, we'll just start off. We'll hit the ground running here for the folks that may not know or have seen this for the first time. Tell us, what is high level?
Gosh, you probably know better than I do. I mean, these days it's kind of an all-in-one CRM marketing system, small business engine, basically all the software you need to capture, nurture, and close your leads for your business, and probably then some.
Oh yeah, awesome, awesome summary there. Any common misconceptions right now that you see that people may be comparing it to something else, or
Well, over
thoughts that
time,
you?
it's been compared to a lot of things. I would say of late, I would think of us more of being compared to something like HubSpot. We have a lot more features already than they do, but I would say that's probably the direction we're headed. We're starting to pull a lot of HubSpot customers in because they're looking for not only the features they have, but all the new AI features, all the additional marketing features, and all of that, and at a much better price point. And we kind of give them that capability out of the box.
Yeah, some of those larger platforms, they're kind of the dinosaurs in the industry and not exactly price sensitive to the small mom and pop businesses
No,
down
not
the
at
road.
all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Their goal is to get you in, as cheaply as possible, and then jack the price up as soon as you start using the system. We don't do that. Our prices are flat, and it
Hmm.
doesn't matter how many contacts or users or other invisible, non-costing items you add to the system. We don't charge you anymore for that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old school cell phone and cable companies. You know, you start off on the
Exactly. Yeah,
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 gets
yeah.
you hooked,
100%.
and then they jack it up. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, no, high levels pricing is absolutely the most competitive that I've ever seen. And I've been using it in my agency for a few years now. And we just love it. Everyone that gets on there is just like blown away.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to
Yeah.
hear that.
So here on when you guys were first kind of starting out, right? There were already these
Yeah,
titans in place that we've mentioned.
tons of them.
They
Yeah.
had, everyone's like, oh, that's a saturated market. Let's start a new energy drink kind of thing.
Well,
Um,
we didn't
s-
actually try to go after this market. So, I mean,
okay.
I think that's the most important thing to realize is that we never said, oh, you know what, the world. In fact, I have lots of there's video of me quoting this many times where I used to say, if the world needed another CRM, we wouldn't be here. We aren't a CRM, this and that. We've actually just grown into a CRM as time has gone on. Really, what we started off doing is helping marketers help their clients get back to leads. So, speed to lead is still the biggest issue out in the world. So, every small business, it's really simple. They have leads coming in, whether some know it, some don't, but either way, they have leads coming in. And the question is, do they capture them? Which most people somehow figure that out. But then do they actually nurture them? What does that mean? It means, do you get back to that lead in 30 seconds or less? And do you move them successfully to the next step, which most of the time is a booked appointment. So it could be an estimate. I always say, like, I'm either coming to you, you're coming to me, or we're going to meet online. But either way, if that sort of appointment doesn't get booked, nothing happens, the lead dies. So most businesses, that's where they lose most of their money. They don't respond quickly, they don't respond consistently, and they don't respond in a way that's automated and gets that lead to that next level. So that's really how we came to the world. So we were working with marketers who were running lots of ad campaigns, generating lots of leads, and then getting fired for it because their clients just weren't following up. So we just sort of automated that, and we
Mhm.
became a tool in the middle, where we were helping those folks, and it helped the small business obviously make a lot of money, but really it was really helping the agency keep their clients. And what we learned through that journey is that the agency was first and foremost really impactful when it came to not only technology choices for their clients, but also actually having to set them up, make them work, continue to support them, et cetera, et cetera. And so we realized, like, if we wanted to help the small business, what we really ought to be doing is helping the agencies. So we sort of stopped selling to small businesses entirely and went right after the agencies. And we basically spent the last 8 years now, creating a system around that. And over time, just kind of grown, vertically in the stack from this one solution to a much broader platform.
Awesome. That's a very common find that niche in the market, that one problem to solve. Like, hey, people aren't following up their leads fast enough. We don't need to go after the 800-pound gorilla. We just need to fix this one problem, and that's going to be the 80/20, and it's gonna raise all the boats. I love it.
Totally.
And it's definitely helped us, even before AI. when we were just setting up basic automations for, in the life insurance space to follow up with Facebook leads. I mean, it was just took a huge burden
Yep.
off the manual tasking there. So early on, when you just started to kind of onboard and were kind of cutting your teeth with what this model would look like, were there any initial traits that you saw then for agencies that would like, hey, when these guys are doing this, they're really gaining a lot of traction as you started to realize the agencies are who we want to go after?
The most important thing we learned was agencies really were the experts in the field. So instead of listening to small businesses, we learned that if we really wanted to help the small business, we need to listen to the agency. And so from there, once we decided that, initially it was okay. How do we take the agency's existing model and help them do like better, scale it better, service our clients better, et cetera. But then over time, what we found was the more we put into it, the more agencies would then sort of take it to that next level. And so the big thing we saw with agencies is they stopped the really successful ones, and this has long since happened, but
Yeah.
stopped selling services as their predominant moneymaker and started selling software. So the idea of HighLevel being white labeled, for example, didn't come about because we had any clue what we were doing, but because agencies said, hey, listen, I keep selling HubSpot and ActiveCampaign and all these other pieces of software, and then I spend months making them work, and then I get fired because someone thinks that HubSpot is doing all the work for the business, when no, I'm the
Yeah.
guy who put it together. It's only working because I keep continue to maintain it, but I still get fired for it. So we're like, oh, well, how do we fix that, right? So how do we disassociate the products from you? I know, let's make it white labelable so then you can put your name on it so they don't ever think, gosh, it's the software doing all the work. Well, what came of that was really smart agencies started thinking, well, wait a second, what if I start selling that as a monthly product unto itself? And literally, I ended up speaking to probably 50 agencies who were doing this, and it was a game changer because instead of selling bespoke custom services that don't scale, and fundamentally, by the way, in the minds of their clients, and this was such a truism, like it doesn't matter what the real results are. If you're like $3,000 plus a month plus ad spend, you're a big target on the income statement. Like that dentist is eyeing that new Mercedes down at the lot and thinking, if I just smoke this marketer, I get that new Mercedes. Like that, you lose every time for that Mercedes. Okay. So when you start selling software at $300 a month, all of a sudden you're like a utility bill and you
Mhm.
are no longer on the target map. And so what we found was that really smart agencies started selling HighLevel as software. And that's actually what's led us to where we are today. And we've been here for a while, but really helping agencies transform their business model away from bespoke custom services. Services are still there, they're still part of the mix, they're still important and all that.
Mhm.
But if you want to look at long-term recurring, profitable, scalable agencies, it's all about software or technology enabled services where that
Mhm.
agency is not creating bespoke custom social media posts, not writing all the blog posts, not doing any of that stuff because it doesn't scale. But the agencies are doing really well. They're not selling tools. That's the most important thing. They're not selling software. They're not saying, hey, here's a CRM, good luck. They're
Yeah.
selling outcomes that are powered by that technology so that they're not having to go in every single day. And they
Mhm.
set it up once, they're checking in monthly, they're doing updates that are more global. Like I'm going to create social media posts, but I'm going to create them for all my customers, not just
Mhm.
one of my customers. And HighLevel enables all of these things. But it's the fundamental model that changes the game for the agency. It's a $300 a month recurring software fee that goes on forever versus a $3,000 a month plus ad spend,
Yeah.
service contract, which man, I used to just feel so terrible for these folks because A, they would always get fired, but B, on the background, they were just killing themselves to do it. It was like a
Delivery.
lose-lose, and we've been able to move that and turn it into a win-win.
Yeah, I think they said the average agency lifespan is about like 90 days, or the customer agency customer is about 90 days. And I always thought, I'm like, who in the
That
world,
might
like these
be.
these businesses are in business for how long? I mean, how in the, and I personally went through that with a few of the original marketing agencies that I had kind of signed up with before running into high level.
Yeah.
And so you could almost say like high level almost bridges the gap between like, selling software, like you said, selling tools here, I'm going to burden the business owner with this thing that they're going to have to figure out on top of everything else that they have, right? And they're probably just not going to use it. They might sign up with a low ticket thing and then they're just going to cancel a few months later. So you got churn there. On the other end of the spectrum, it's like, all right,
Yep.
I'm going to provide these high ticket services. I'm going to work my butt off. I got to scale up with all this team and all this overhead. And then you got to train those people. And now you got this big organization underneath you. And so then it's like, that's the service side. And then they see that big $3,000 ticket. And, like I said, they're like, do I really, where's the results? How do I justify this price? And we've,
100%.
been able to come in the middle of high level and say, hey, let's productize these services So not only does it create a tangible, repeatable outcome that the agency can have confidence to know, like, hey, we don't have to worry about trying to deliver on this. It's not some bespoke thing that they've asked us to do. We have to figure out. We already know what we're going to deliver. And then you can put a price tag of value on that. That's market competitive, and then the client, they don't have to do anything either because it's not, you're not selling them tools. So it's created like a
Yep,
really
you got
unique
it. It's a
value
win-win for
proposition.
everybody, and
Yeah,
it's much more
amazing.
affordable, and you're able to actually create the same outcomes that you were before,
Mhm.
where you were doing everything sort of bespoke. It's a really beautiful situation, and again, it also allows you to create a totally different business model that's much more scalable, and where you can, as a business owner, you can get hundreds of clients. And that's the other
Yeah,
great thing is, when you do lose a client, it doesn't ruin your whole month, because
sure.
now one of five clients just left, and now you got to kill yourself to go find another one real quick
Yeah.
in order to pay the bills to keep the lights on.
Yeah, I think Mike Cooch refers to this as a systems as a service model, right? Versus the
Actually,
typical
Mike Cooch
software as
is
a
a
service.
beautiful example of somebody I would recommend that
Yeah.
people listen to, because that is exactly the type of business you want to build. Because he talks a lot about that. You're trying to hit that sweet spot in the middle between selling a tool and selling a service. Like, you don't want
Hmm.
to be on either end. You want to be in the middle.
Yeah, I've been through almost, I think I've watched all of his videos in his program about twice at this point.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
he's a nice guy and a smart guy. It's a good combination.
yep, yep. Very cool. So where would you say now AI obviously, wasn't on the scene 8 years ago. The platform
Sure.
has just come leaps and bounds with AI. I think I started my
Yeah.
first, I actually closed down my call center. I just did a video about this. I closed it down because I didn't actually need them when I was first able to integrate HighLevel with GPT directly through Zapier and get conversations going and book appointments. The first time I watched the AI book a call with someone, that was it. It was
Yeah.
over. I was just like, okay,
Yeah, see, there you
I
go.
I,
And
I don't
there you go.
need.
That is a perfect explanation of what AI is doing. It is allowing us to do the same things we were doing before, cheaper, faster, better. It is an enabler. I think of it like you're taking your car and you're just pulling the engine out and you're throwing a new engine in there that's faster and burns less gas or doesn't
Sure.
burn gas at all, and you can go twice as fast. But the fun part about it is it's the same car. So you're getting
Yeah.
the same output that you were before, better,
Yep.
faster, cheaper. And that's what AI is allowing us to do. And that's why how we're rolling that out across the system. So a lot of people, you sort of look out in the news and everything, it's like, oh, what is AI going to do? And how's it going to work? And what is it going to take over and replace? And yeah, I think it becomes an accelerant and enabler way more than a replacement.
Hmm.
It just allows you. It's in the simplest terms I think of is, you're cutting down trees for a living and you're using an axe, and all of a sudden they just hand you a chainsaw. Like, what does that mean? You're just going to zip through a lot more trees in a day. And I think AI
Yep.
is doing the same thing. So for us, it's really like you said, trying to enable those same use cases that we know are valuable before: inbound calls, inbound chats, outbound chats, all of those things. How do we enable those by putting AI as the engine behind it so that way
Yeah.
we can automate that? And that's exactly where we're seeing the success.
Yeah. And even from a training standpoint, you could take the scripting and the training that you would have given a customer service rep or an appointment setter, and you can literally put that same conversation flow right into the AI and have the AI do it
There
every
you
single
go.
time perfectly.
Actually,
You know?
that's a lovely example, right? Because that is a very great example of the next sort of phase of AI, where we're talking about agentic AI, where we're literally training an AI agent, and but as it goes, it's going to fail and have issues just like a human would. But we're going to go and train it. When we do, we're training one thing, and then that one
Mhm.
thing can multiply out and serve hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of customers, and oftentimes simultaneously. And so that is exactly what we're looking at when we think about where AI is going.
Yeah, the scalability, I think some people understand it, but it hasn't hit everyone yet. The level of like,
That's okay. And
wow.
again, what's fun about this is really taking it back to the agency business.
Yeah.
This is beautiful because there is not a world where the agents are going to magically make themselves, train themselves, maintain themselves, upgrade themselves. That's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
There's going to need to be experts who do this. And guess what? That is exactly where agencies are going. Agencies are going to be moving to a world where agents are going to be doing work on behalf of their clients in the same way that they used to. And to your point, this is what I used to meet people and they'd be like, I just opened an agency and what do I do? And I give them sort of plan A, and they go out and they get there, and then they run to the first stopping block, which is, I can't scale beyond myself. Now what do I do? And it was before, it was like, well, you need to go hire a VA, right? So you need to go hire a VA team and this and this and this. But now it's like, no, no, no. What you need to do is go train an agent. And now and this is a game changer because
Yeah,
before it's adding human capital and now it's adding AI capital. And fundamentally, you're able to achieve the same outcomes. And again, as an agency, much more scalably. So this whole AI revolution should an agent allow agencies to scale better and be more profitable all at the
mhm,
same time while still achieving amazing results and probably, to be fair, more consistent results. Because I don't know about you, but as a human, I have my on days, I have my off days. I do the same
absolutely.
task well one day and I do it terribly the next. And unfortunately, that's just the human condition. But AI does not suffer the same fate. And so I
Sure.
think we should be able to deliver really, really, really amazing outcomes for our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from the automation and robotics world, like we had talked about, before the call here, that's one of the things that robots kind of did in the manufacturing industry, where it was like, hey, it may not be as diverse as a human, but once we program it to stack this pallet this way, it's going to do it perfectly over and over and over again. It's never going to have a bad day,
Totally.
and then you can
100%,
get that
100%.
quality out.
And I just think it's such a the perfect thing because it gives humans the capacity to actually focus on what they do well, which is being creative,
Exactly.
and really
Yep.
trying to think about what's next. But for the things that are already figured out, like there's just a lot of jobs that, like I always think about those poor people that like are in those toll booths. I'm
Hmm.
like, they're just huffing fumes all day, man.
Ugh,
Like, give me a break. They don't need to
I
be
wouldn't
there.
want to
That's
do it.
ridiculous. They need to
Yeah.
be doing something else. And there's no way that the highest calling for them in life is to sit there and take your credit card and scan the ticket and all that. They should be out doing something else. And fundamentally, I think that's a great example of where AI can do that job beautifully,
Hmm.
whereas, humans can then be freed up to go
Freed
on and
up.
do something
Exactly.
else.
Yep. Yep. Elevated to a high, like you said, a higher level of creativity
Yeah.
and
And for the
less
people who are
repetitive.
utilizing AI, it's going to enable them. So,
Yeah.
it's so interesting because I remember when AI first came out, there's these really interesting studies about how they were going to replace radiologists because they would put the AI up against the radiologist and the AI would outperform the radiologist almost every time, like 9 times out of 10, the AI would give a better diagnosis than
Hmm.
the human. But
Interesting.
then, and I was waiting for this all to happen. And if you look now that there's an update on it, there's more radiology jobs than ever. And what
Huh.
they're finding is that those studies were done in the lab with sort of perfect data and perfect scenarios and everything else. But in real life, there's just enough variability that actually turns out it's humans plus AI that are actually in real world creating better outcomes. So as a patient, if you ever go in, what you want to hear is you have a radiologist who's a human who's using an AI tool to
Mm.
enable them to get to a better outcome because it's that beautiful mix of both of those tools that's actually creating the better outcome for you as the patient. So for me, I think that is a great example of where you have someone with a high level of skill
Yeah.
utilizing the tool to accelerate their capacity and their product, but they're not being replaced by it.
So you almost get a 1 + 1 = 3 with the humans plus AI versus just the human maxing out their
Precisely.
bandwidth or the AI
Precisely.
maxed out minus that extra edge that it would accelerate the AI even more with the human. So yeah, that makes perfect sense.
You got
And
it.
definitely have observed that over the last few years, back from the GPT-3 3.5 days, until now. So awesome. So let's see. So where would you say now today where agencies might be, I mean, you kind of maybe touched on this a little bit, but where agencies might be kind of overcomplicating some of the stuff because, as you know, HighLevel has a mountain of features and everybody likes to sell all the things to all the people, as Adam Earhart likes to say.
I mean, that's always the biggest mistake. I always tell people the same thing. Like, start with one feature and go focus on the sale. And then after that, don't ever feel bad if you never learn everything that we do, because that's our job is to create a set of tools for everybody who's going to come in and have a particular type of customer they're trying to serve. That your job is not to serve every type of customer. Fundamentally, you need to know that you can rely on us to have the tool you need when you need it, but you do not need to learn them all, and you shouldn't learn them all. And if you try, you're just going to get mired in a bunch of wasted effort, and you're
Mhm.
not going to get to where you need to get, which is you need to focus on making the sale,
Yeah.
not on learning a bunch of technology you don't need to use.
As a previous software developer myself, I fell into that trap and I probably spent a good 3 or 4 months building really cool stuff that seemed like it would be
Yeah,
great.
exactly. No
And
doubt.
then it was
Yeah,
like,
that's the crazy thing. It's all cool, but then when you don't sell any of it, it doesn't matter.
it's like, oh, nobody actually cares. Yeah, no, that's and that's really staying at the tip of the spear in the business. The biggest bottleneck for any new agency is going to be client acquisition, getting the sale. I mean, if you haven't had your first sale yet, your concern is not, well, I got to make sure I figure out exactly what this pricing with this particular set of features is going to be. It's like you don't even know what type of business you might even want to service,
Yeah,
let
yeah.
alone what
That's the
they
biggest thing.
need.
I mean, you gotta focus on making the sale, and you can
Yeah.
make the sale literally with one feature. And I think it's hard for people to believe that. But if you take something like
Hmm.
inbound voice AI as a product is a so that's the tool. But what's the outcome we're creating? Every small business gets calls every single day that they miss. They don't pick them up, and they don't even have to know that they missed them because oftentimes they don't because what they're doing is they're out in the field doing the work, and then they miss them, or they'll be like, oh well, I know I missed them, you see, but I called them back later. Yeah, but the problem is you call them back later and they've already gone on to your competitor. So what does
Hmm.
inbound voice AI do? It solves for that problem, right? So it answers the call in real time. It automatically gets the appointment booked in, and it frees that person up to again be in the field where they're doing the thing that they're an expert at, and not having to like hold onto their cell phone all the time because they know if they don't, they're going to lose a lot of business. That's one feature. You can make a heck of a lot of sales because the reality is you go to any small business owner and say, listen, if I catch one call that you miss and turn it into a booked appointment, you turn that into a customer, what is that worth to you? My bet is it's over $300 for any business. So that's what you sell. That's where you start. Go make that sale right now. Like, don't
Yeah.
learn any of the other features. And the great thing about inbound voice AI is even better because you don't have to have the client log in. You don't have to teach them the software. You don't have to give them a username and a password. You don't have to deal with any of that stuff. You literally can do it. And you don't even have to replace their current phone number. You can use busy no answer call forwarding where it goes *72 and the phone number inside HighLevel on their phone. And what does it do? It rings their phone number 3 times, ring, ring, ring. They don't pick up. It rolls over automatically, and bam, they didn't lose their phone number. They didn't lose it. You have to learn a new software system. And now they're getting more business than they were because they are picking up calls they were missing. That's it. There's a business for you. Go out
Yeah.
and conquer, and then come back and learn features later.
Yeah, when you run out of people to sell that to, then you can move to the next thing. You're probably never going to run out of people to sell that to. So, and that I think
Yeah,
that
and that's the
question,
thing. So number one
yeah,
thing is please, please, please do not feel like you need to go learn every feature because you don't. And if you try, it will not be good for you.
I think that question of do we need a new phone number probably comes up in the forums about 3 times a day. It's a constant concern for folks. And yeah, you're exactly right. You don't need to get a new phone number. You can there's a couple different ways, including the conditional call forwarding. Cool. So the top agency activities right now that you would say do drive the most revenue for folks that are starting out. If they had one thing to focus on each day, what would you say that would be?
Selling a scalable system that delivers outcomes for your clients and recognize that you're in the business of why they care about you, why you exist, why they want to do business with you is because you sell an outcome they want. Focus on selling the outcome. Do not get into a tools discussion. Otherwise, you are going to be in a world of hurt because they're going to say, oh, well, I already have a system that does this. And now you're going to be in this weird situation where you have to argue against your customer as to why the software they already invested in is terrible,
Yeah.
and that is going to be a lose-lose for everybody.
Yeah, you get into that type of sales conversation that everybody hates. We're trying to convince somebody to buy something, right? We can easily kind of stay away from that completely with what we have in the platform for sure. And
Yep.
so, moving into the next 12 to 24 months, what would you say would be some of the skills agencies would want to focus on, internal to HighLevel or even just external, over the next 12 to 24 months to be successful?
I hate to be boring and repetitive, but it's sort of the same thing. Focus on making the sale using technology-enabled services. And again, the reason why things aren't changing is because the outcomes those customers want have not changed. If you go out and say, "Hey, in the next 6 to 12 months, are you going to still want more customers?" No one's going to say, "No, I'm over that. That trend is past. No more new customers for me." You see, that's just not a thing. That's what everybody wants, for the record. If you want to know what your customers want, they all want more customers. They all want more business because more business equals more money. That's what we've been selling since the beginning of time. That is what you will sell to the end of time. Everyone
Yeah.
wants those outcomes, and your goal is to sell them those outcomes. And the tools and technology that you use is going to be automated and AI driven and all of those wonderful things. But again, your end customer doesn't care. Don't talk to them about AI. Don't talk to them about agents because you will just lose those conversations. They're not
Yeah.
interested. It's scary. You'll have to go way too in depth. Just say, look, I'm going to get you more customers. Do you want that? I'm going to get you more 5 stars on reviews on Google. Do you want that? Like, you need to talk in a language that's already in their mind. Because if it's something
Mm.
they already know about, they're already interested in, and they already want, man, what an easy job you have there. But if you just try to sell them on something like, hey, let's talk about software and CRMs and agentic AI, like goodness gracious, you are going to fail like you wouldn't believe because these are
Yeah.
scary topics. They aren't things that these people have time to deal with, and they don't really get at the heart of the matter, which is they want more customers. They want somebody who can give them those outcomes because, again, remember, these folks are really good at something. They're really good at being a plumber or a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist. They actually have a skill there that they want to apply. That's what they really love and enjoy, but they know in order to do it, they
Mhm.
need an inflow of customers, and that is what you're selling them. That is what you're there to do. So stay on that message. It's boring, it's repetitive, but guess what? It makes money and it scales really well, and
Yeah.
it's always going to be in demand. So sell the outcome, do not sell the tool.
So on that topic, when we go and we're speaking with clients with the agency model where you're selling your services, you kind of have to convince them that you'll be good enough. Oh, here's my case studies. Here's my previous past clients and what they said
Sure,
it did for them, right?
sure,
And a lot of people when they're starting out, they don't have that. And so would you
sure.
say that,
I,
with
I
high
mean,
level,
I think case studies are great, and sure, rep them if you got them. But the great thing about technology enabled outcomes is it's an easy dodge. By the way, the reason why case studies and all of this are generally a big part of it is because you have this massive price tag. But because
yeah,
we don't have a massive price tag, first and foremost, that lowers the bar, which is great. And two, it gives because it's technology enabled, you can just prove it to them. You're like, oh, you don't believe me? No problem. How about this? I'll just do this for a month and I'll get you more 5-star reviews and then we can talk after that. And what you do, where I will get you more, more converted customers. And all you have to do, and heck, you can do it for a week. Just put inbound voice AI on any small business in the entire world
yeah,
today for 1 week, and you will convert customers. And you call them at the end of the week, like, hey, did you see I got you 5 customers? Yeah. Hey, you want that to stop? No, God, no. Okay, take my
yeah,
money. Here's my card. Take my cash right now. That's
yeah,
it. It's super simple to do. So case studies are wonderful, but you know what's more? I mean, I have lots of people who contact me with big case studies. I don't really care because you know what? Those people aren't me. I don't care about your stupid case studies. I care about myself. So at
yeah.
some point, it's like show me, don't tell me, right? So the number of people who come in, and this is another big thing with selling. The number of people who show up and say, you know what? I don't want any of your time and I don't want any of your money. I'm just going to give you results that you want. That's
That's
zero
unheard
people,
of.
by the way.
No, no,
Everyone's the
nobody does that.
opposite. They're like,
Yeah,
"Hey, hi, my name is somebody you've never heard of and don't care about, and I would like you to take time, which by the way is valuable, probably, and in some cases more valuable than money. Oh, and oftentimes I'd also like you to pair it with money. And if you give me those two things, I promise I'll give you these outcomes. You don't know me, you have no belief in me, and sure, maybe you have some case studies, but
yeah,
gosh, I don't know. Maybe you invented it, maybe you're not. But you know what? If I care, I have to run those down. That's even more time I've got to spend. Like, what a ridiculous way to sell anything. Just show up and say, you know what? You don't know me.
that is,
I have case studies, but it doesn't matter. I'm
yeah.
just going to get you more customers without you doing anything for a week, and then after that, once I prove myself, let's talk after that. How's that sound? No one
Sure.
sells that way. If you sell that way, you'll crush it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gone door to door. I've driven down Main Street. I've walked in, and that's like kind of the hardest way to do it. But I've never come home without at least one person saying yes to a free trial. And it's the easiest way,
Yeah.
and even what you talked about there as far as showing them for a week, I kind of call that systems proof. It's like, hey, I don't need to prove to you that I can do it. Let me just show, not tell. Check it out. Here's a
Yeah.
live demo. You can call the AI now. Would you like this? Or if they're not convinced yet, then you say, all right, how about we just set it up for a week? And when they see that first, their real customer that came in, or that first email that there was a book called whatever that for their business, it's a game changer. They're like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Well, and
That's
isn't that
amazing.
what we're all promising anyways? Like, how many
Yeah.
of us would say, no, 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 I'm really actually trying to sell something that they aren't going to find valuable and they aren't going to like and they aren't going to want to keep? Like, none of us are going to say that, right? And
No.
so, if that's truly the case, then you should be loving giving people that for free because what you realize is you're just Trojan horsing it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh man, once they get this sucker, they're going to be so stuck, it's not even funny.
And
Oh man, they are never going to want to leave after this.
yeah, and the cost to set somebody up is basically free in the sense. I mean,
There it is.
yeah,
There it is. Because why aren't we doing this now? Why aren't we doing this with our services? Because our services don't scale. They're too darn expensive. They're all custom. Goodness gracious sakes. And the craziest thing about it is if you think about how low the bar is for most small businesses
yeah,
today, your custom services are actually quite overkill. I don't care if you're the best expert on planet Earth and whatever you do. No offense, but they don't need it.
yeah,
They need something that they can take the most generic, repetitive, thing off the shelf and get way farther ahead than they are today. And that's
Yep.
all that matters. That's the other thing that's really important to remember. We're not looking for the best outcome on planet Earth that's available for that small business. We're looking for an ROI positive outcome. We're looking for a
Mm.
situation where it's $1 in and $2 out. It doesn't have to be $1 in and $10,000 out. Even if you could do it for that person, that's not something they really actually can afford, appreciate, or want.
Sure.
Fundamentally, that's like saying, you know what, I want a custom car. No one drives a custom car. Very few people.
Very
It's a
few.
1%
Yeah.
because, gosh, the expense on this is insane.
It,
We all drive
it,
the same car as
yeah.
10,000 other people, which is,
Yeah.
by the way, why we can afford to do it. Because if those car manufacturers couldn't do it that way, they wouldn't exist. And that's the same way you need to think about your business. You're
Economy of
selling that
scale.
same car that 10,000 other people are going to drive because fundamentally, that's how you create scalable businesses. That's how
Mm.
scale works. And fundamentally, those businesses will still be better off. They'll still get more customers. They'll still do better. And so will you versus the opposite of, hey, no. I'm going to do a custom, bespoke, new car for everybody. You choose every little aspect of it. Good luck. It's not going to
Yeah.
work. It doesn't
Y-
scale. And it's why car manufacturers don't do it either.
Yeah. You almost have to sell to enterprise level clients, which is going to be very
Yeah.
long sales
Good luck with that.
cycles. Yeah. You're going to need to
Yeah.
know
And
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. I don't sell to enterprises. I
Yeah.
hate
The
enterprises.
red tape
They're
is just
slow.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
And you might
Yeah,
get
it's
a
terrible.
big ticket, but you're working for that person. If
Oh
your
yeah, and
intention is
most
to leave.
enterprises, I mean, enterprises remember they know their numbers, right? They're going to grind you down. You're just a body shop to them.
Yep.
They're not interested in your creativity or anything else. All they generally do to hire external vendors is mostly because they think they can get you cheaper than they could hire a resource internally.
Yeah.
That's just fundamentally how that game works. No,
Yep.
no thanks. Don't sell to enterprises under any condition.
Yeah.
They are not fun.
Yeah, and then even if you do manage, so hey, I know someone in this big company, and I go in and you're able to finagle some one thing that you do, and it's 20, $30,000. Okay, so when that project's done, then what? You're right back to where you started. You're right. You know what I mean? Even if you sell
Yeah.
them a small, like it's a very hard business model to go after and scale. And yeah, I think High Levels just knocked it out of the park with kind of giving the person to ability to run a one person business for as long as they like and scale it without actually having all that additional burden. Very cool. All right, so lastly here, where would we see High Level headed conceptually in the next 6 months to a year horizon for the company?
I mean, we're on the path for world domination is the way we think about it. I mean,
Love
we're
it.
going to be take. I mean, the reality is that with our business model, which I think of very much as as enabling people to go out and actually serve the small businesses through this agency model, there is not a software company out there that's going to stand in our way because it's this team effort. It's this partnership model that
Mm,
is fundamentally changing things. We make tools and that's cool, but tools by themselves are just that. They're hammers, they're saws, they're nails, they're no different. They just sit on the shelf and do nothing. Without having an agency come in and pick those tools up and actually create outcomes, they're worthless. But
yeah.
that's the point. We've created a model that enables an agency to utilize those tools on behalf of their customers to go out and create those outcomes. So for us, it's just up and away. I mean, we're going big international. We're running down bigger and bigger software players here in the U.S.
Mm,
So the biggest customers, whether it's HubSpot, we're starting to run into Salesforce, and everybody below them, we're just going to eat their lunch because fundamentally they all just make tools and they try to sell them to small business owners, and that is. I think that is a travesty, and I think it is a con job because fundamentally they're coming in and saying, "Hey, Mr. Dentist, Mrs. Plumber, like buy the wrench, buy the saw, buy the hammer, and boom, you're going to create a house for yourself. Hot diggity dog. Now sign this long-term contract." And then the reason why they do that is because they know that once those people get those tools in their hands, they're going to realize they're too hard, they're too complex, and they're going to be upset, and they're going to want to return it. But guess what? Haha, I got you, sucker. You're on a
yeah.
1 year contract.
For
Good
for
luck.
10,000 a
See,
month.
nope. But the game, yeah, but the jig's up. I mean, everybody has
Yeah.
burned themselves on that. They know what they're in for, and we're offering the alternative, which is, hey, don't buy from us. Buy from this person who has the answer, the outcome you need already sewn up, so that you're going to get not only the tool, that's just the engine. They're going
Hmm.
to create the outcome you're looking for, and they've already done it probably 50 times over for somebody in your industry. So you're just
Yeah.
going to get right to the outcome you want. So world domination is where we're headed.
Amazing. And I know that the trajectory is nearly vertical at this point. So you got the velocity behind it. So I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So
Well,
if
we're
someone,
very fortunate. We've got amazing people that work with us. The agencies we work with are the most successful on planet Earth, and it's really this awesome pairing of their knowledge, their experience, their creativity, their industry expertise,
Mhm.
combined with the tools coming out as this fully baked solution to the actual customer.
I love it. So if someone's not signed up with High Level yet and they're like, hey, this all
Yeah.
sounds great. How can I start? How much do they have to pay? Where should they go? What's the best
Well,
path?
it's just a website. It's a free trial, and we get started for 97 bucks a month and all that wonderful stuff. But if you want to see more, I always tell people to go to our YouTube channel. Our Facebook group is the most amazing Facebook group out there, but you got to be a customer to join it. So if you don't want to do that yet, I respect that. Go check the YouTube channel out. You can see days and days and days and days of content that show not just the software, but also lots of people using it, lots of other industry insights, great experts. Because again, it's not about us and our magic tools that we build. It is really about the people who use them to create amazing outcomes that matters to us.
Perfect. Well, Shaun, thank you so much for everything. And if there's any final takeaways,
Yeah, I just thank you for having me on. It's been great to be here.
all right. We will talk to you again soon, Shaun.
Bye, everybody.